The special nature of common activities requires that they should, there's so many spelling errors in this document, that they be treated in all respects as being outside the framework of other or general intelligence activities, order, directives, policies, or recommendations of any authority of the executive branch relating to collection, production, security, handling, dissemination, or utilization of intelligence and or classified material shall not be applicable to common activities. So that's a waiver, that's a presidential waiver, unless specifically so stated and issued by competent departmental of agency authority, yet again another grammatical error, represented on the board, other National Security Council intelligence directives to the Director of Central Intelligence and related implementing directives issued by the Director of Central Intelligence shall be construed as non-applicable to common activities unless the National Security Council has made its directive specifically applicable to common. National Security Council directives to the Director of the CIA do not apply to comment unless the National Security Council specifically states so. This presidential waiver is very significant. That needs to be added to our notes, definitely. Order, directives, policies, or recommendations of any authority of the executive branch. Who's in the executive branch aside from the president? Can some like American who knows way more than me about the US government please tell me what else is in the executive branch?
I'm probably no better at that than you are. I was having really weird playback issues a minute ago, and then I'm having it again now. And your voice went weird for a minute. I'm not sure what it is. It can't be me because when that happened, I was completely muted everywhere. So anyway, I don't know what's going on, but chat was interested in what happened.
Law enforcement and the military is in the executive branch.
Is the and I have about as much background in the legal system of the US as you do. I wasn't educated initially in the US, but I'm asking this to chat. Is the Department of Justice not part of the executive branch? Am I completely...
Guys, as for robot voice, I have absolutely no idea why YouTube has decided to warp my voice. Perhaps YouTube is not a big fan of us reading Truman's directive for the establishment of the responsibilities and policy making of the NSA live on YouTube.
Yeah, because now it's fine. At least on my end, it's all fine. But it was really weird for a minute there. It sounded like some weird movie effect. It was odd. So
I think they're fans.
Definitely.
This is extremely significant. I'm kind of wishing we had known to do this right at the beginning, but it's still contextualizing our other findings. So I'm being told it is the president and the vice president, the speaker of the House, the law enforcement and the military.
And the Department of Justice. It's the Department of Justice is the executive branch department responsible for handling legal work of the federal government. I just looked that up. So.
And the DOJ is in there as well.
Yeah.
So none of those entities orders, directives, policies, or recommendations of any authority of the executive branch relating to collection, production, security, handling, dissemination, or utilization of intelligence or classified material are non-applicable to the NSA. But then the NSA is there, the definition of that did not include censorship and where was it? Censorship. It excludes censorship in the production and dissemination of the finished intelligence. So the NSA can't decide where the finished intelligence goes.
Yeah.
and it presumably can't just decide the classification levels either. So that gives the NSA autonomy from those other agencies in the executive branch, including even the presidential part is a bit strange. I mean, how many presidents actually like write waivers like that?
I don't know.
The president is actually giving it away, part of his oversight. That's my reading of it.
Yeah, no, that's what it sounds like. Maybe somebody in chat has a different interpretation. And thank you, Red Economics. I really enjoyed that interview with Graham. I just saw that they mentioned in chat. But that was a really, really fun interview. That's actually one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done. Way up there.
So basically, unless it's an emergency situation, the president is completely hands off the NSA.
Yeah.
The emergency situation, I've just searched the document on the word president. The emergency situation is the only part where the president is retaining any kind of authority. For anything else, it's basically hands off.
Yeah, and so that really gives you this picture of the NSA as having this sort of almost what seems like virtually unlimited power, it seems like. Is that right from what you're seeing?
I want to go back to the formulation of policies. What it seems like is that the specific responsibilities of the director of NSA include the following: formulating necessary operational plans and policies for the conduct of US common activities. It's pretty plain. The director of the NSA can set the policies for the conduct of the NSA. That seems to me like nuts.
Yeah, but see, that goes to what we were saying earlier. So when we say that the NSA is allowed to set the conduct for the NSA, like that's not because of this randomness. That isn't illegal as far as how they were set up, but it should be. It absolutely should.
But Zena, it's really dangerous and bad because
Definitely.
if the document that we found where they had discovered that they were doing things that they didn't have directives from the director of the NSA to do, their response to that was to write new directives for what they were already doing. Yeah. So they're like retroactively authorizing themselves to do what they're already doing.
Yeah, definitely. And so it raises this whole issue of the fact that Americans didn't have any say in the creation of the NSA or the rules that governed the NSA, and it's just a complete pile of, you know, steaming whatever from the get-go. You know, it's really, really mind-bogglingly, it like should be illegal, but it's, you know, set up in a way that is absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, should be illegal. Even if it, you know, the way it's worded, it isn't. But
it is completely nonsensical.
I guess, and
they're self-governing.
It's unethical. That's the word I'm looking for. It's immoral, but it's specifically unethical that they're set up this way. Because I think also, like, people a lot of times think that if it's against the law or if it is legal, then it must also be good. Sometimes lots of good things like feeding homeless people can be against the law, and things that are really evil like the NSA can be legal. It's not, you know, legal and good aren't the same thing. So
allowing them to establish their own policies and procedures is self-governing.
Yeah.
And no intelligence agency should be self-governing.
Agreed.
Or 100%. What you have is that they decide that they should run the world, which is exactly what we have.
Yeah, it really is.
So all of this shit that the NSA has been doing, they literally can cook up themselves. Their global network, their extended enterprise, their blah, 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 blah. Their mission to control the entire planet is self-perpetuated.
Yeah.
And self-governing. So here's what I want to do now. now I want to know, what is the mission of the establishment of the Congressional Intelligence Oversight Committee and the Senate Intelligence Oversight Committee? I'd also like to know what the terms of reference were for the establishment of the 9/11 Commission, since the 9/11 Commission was specifically referenced in that by that NSA staff member when he was saying that they had to at all costs avoid there being any change to how they operated based on oversight from those groups. I think we need to understand more about what the oversight commitments of the NSA are.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
So that we can make better sense of what we've already read today. The other thing that I want to know is if any policy came out of the Church Committee in the 70s that impacted upon NSA. If there is any updated document post this 1952 directive from Harry Truman. And I think that we should do all of those things before we continue going through the files.
Yeah.
Batch 5 is the last public batch of Snowden documents. I personally suspect that within a couple of months, or maybe even February, Intercept will probably release batch 6. But this stuff is critically important. This is so important to understand, because it contextualizes everything that's been going on. The whole issue of mass surveillance, where did it come from? When did they decide that they should be able to do these things? Why have they been able to so easily create legislation and push it through to cover for these things? And this, I think, is a big piece of that puzzle, which is that they are developing their own policies and procedures. And if the Department of Justice can't dictate to the NSA relating to comment, then it's possible that it's the NSA that is dictating to them about comment.
Yeah.
And to law enforcement about comment. So I think there's a lot more going on here to uncover as to how they got to be doing the things that they were doing that led Snowden to blow the whistle.
Definitely.